Have you ever sat down to work and noticed your mind wandering after just a few minutes? You're not alone, and it's not your fault. The truth is, most people don't know how long their brain can actually focus before it starts losing energy. Working harder doesn't always mean working smarter, and trying to push past your natural rhythm only leads to frustration, stress, and wasted time. What if you could figure out the exact length of time your mind stays sharp and use that knowledge to get more done in less time? Imagine finishing important tasks faster, feeling confident and staying energized instead of drained. In this video, you're going to learn how to recognize when your focus is at its peak, how to structure your work in a way that actually protects your energy, and how small, focused sessions can turn into big results. You'll discover practical steps to avoid distractions, keep your mind sharp, and trust your natural rhythm every day. By the end, you won't just work, you'll work with precision, clarity, and confidence. This is the science of focus made simple, practical, and life-changing. Chapter 1. Notice when your mind feels sharp and start working now. The first step to mastering focused work is to truly notice when your mind feels sharp and ready. It is easy to assume that we can push through fatigue or wait for the right time that never comes. But the truth is, your mind already gives you signals. There are moments in your day when your attention is clear, your thoughts are organized, and ideas flow naturally. These are the moments when real work happens. When your mind feels sharp, you are more alert, more creative, and more capable of handling tasks that require concentration. The first skill in building a productive life is learning to recognize these moments. The challenge for most people is that they ignore these signals. They sit down to work because the clock says it is time, or they follow someone else's schedule rather than tuning into their own mind. Imagine sitting at a desk with a blank document or an incomplete task and realizing that your energy is scattered, your focus drifts every few minutes. That is not the ideal time to produce meaningful work. True productivity does not come from pushing harder when your brain is tired. It comes from aligning with your natural mental sharpness. Every human being has periods of clarity during the day when focus is effortless. Some people feel it early in the morning, others feel it later in the afternoon. You will not know unless you pay attention to yourself. This is where self-awareness becomes critical. Pay attention to the times when your mind feels alert. Notice the moments when tasks that usually feel difficult seem easier. Notice when distractions seem minimal, when you can concentrate without constant reminders or internal complaints. Your mind will show you. It may feel like a subtle energy, a quiet alertness, or a sense of flow. This is your internal signal telling you now is the moment to act, and acting in these moments is not about working more hours. It is about working smarter. It is about maximizing the natural energy you already have. Once you identify these periods, protect them. This means eliminating interruptions during these windows. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs or apps. Silence messages and phone calls. Tell the people around you that you are in a focused period. This is not selfish. This is necessary. Your mind cannot operate at peak capacity if it is constantly being pulled in different directions. And the more you respect these moments, the more your brain will respond positively. It will learn to associate this period with high energy, high concentration, and high achievement. The power of working during mental sharpness is extraordinary, because quality always beats quantity. A focused 1-hour session when your mind is alert is far more productive than 4 hours of distracted, scattered effort. During these high-focus moments, your brain processes information faster, retains details better, and generates more solutions. You will notice that complex problems feel simpler. Tasks that usually feel like obstacles suddenly become manageable. This is the time when real growth happens. The results are visible, tangible, and immediate. Your confidence grows because you can see that your effort directly creates progress. One of the most common mistakes people make is thinking they can train themselves to work at all times. Human beings are not machines. We do not function at the same level of focus for 8 hours straight without breaks. Pushing through when your mind is not ready does not build discipline, it builds exhaustion. It creates frustration, lowers confidence, and teaches your brain to associate work with discomfort. Instead, training your focus begins with noticing when it is natural and using it strategically. Your mind is telling you what it needs. Honoring that signal is not weakness, it is wisdom. To put this into practice, start by observing yourself for a few days. Track the times when you feel most awake, alert, and mentally energized. You do not need fancy tools, simply notice. You might keep a small journal or a simple note on your phone. Record when you feel your best. Then schedule your most important tasks during these periods. These are not the moments for trivial work. These are the moments for work that moves the needle. Work that challenges you. Work that shapes your future. These periods are when your mind can create, innovate, and execute at its highest potential. This approach also changes how you feel about work itself. When you work during periods of clarity, the experience is different. You are not dragging yourself through the day. You are not forcing focus like a chore. Instead, there is a sense of engagement, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of flow. Your energy feeds your effort. Your confidence grows because you can see progress in real time. You will notice that motivation is no longer the main driver. Clarity and natural focus are. Motivation comes and goes, but attention is a skill that can be trained when aligned with your natural mental sharpness. Recognizing these moments also helps in planning your breaks. Work and rest are partners. When your mind feels sharp and you work, it is also critical to rest afterward to allow recovery. This does not mean waiting until you feel completely drained. This means being proactive about your energy. After a session of deep work, step away, stretch, walk, or simply breathe for a few minutes. Your mind will consolidate information, process ideas, and return stronger. Over time, this creates a cycle where your focused periods are more productive and your rest periods are more refreshing. You become a person who manages energy, not just time. There is another psychological factor to consider. Working when your mind is sharp reduces stress. When you attempt tasks while scattered, every little challenge feels bigger. Mistakes feel heavier. Tasks pile up and frustration increases. This is not productivity. This is struggle. By contrast, when you work in alignment with your mental clarity, tasks feel manageable. You make fewer errors. You feel competent. You gain momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence leads to persistence. Persistence leads to results. This is the natural cycle of human psychology at work. It is also important to remember that everyone's ideal focus periods are different. Do not compare yourself to someone else. Someone else may thrive early in the morning, while you feel most alive in the evening. This is not a limitation, it is a personal truth. By tuning into your own natural rhythm, you honor yourself. You give yourself the best chance to succeed. Productivity is not about fitting into a schedule that someone else designed. It is about designing your life around your own natural strengths and using your energy wisely. The act of noticing when your mind feels sharp is also an act of self-respect. It tells your brain and your body that you value your time. It communicates to yourself that you understand your own patterns, needs, and capabilities. This awareness builds a stronger relationship with yourself. It builds discipline that is not forced, but cultivated naturally. It builds self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation for achieving anything meaningful. Without it, no strategy, tool, or technique can deliver lasting results. Once you start applying this principle, you will notice subtle changes in your behavior. You will begin to plan your day around energy, not just the clock. You will start to eliminate distractions instinctively. You will prioritize the tasks that matter most. You will notice that work feels less like a grind and more like a process you can manage confidently. This is not magic, it is simply working in harmony with your own mind, observing patterns, and acting intentionally. Finally, the most powerful outcome of noticing when your mind feels sharp and working during those moments is growth. Growth in skill, growth in confidence, growth in productivity, and growth in personal satisfaction. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You will start to instinctively recognize when to focus and when to rest. You will stop wasting energy on tasks that do not matter. You will start to experience deep satisfaction from work that moves your life forward. This principle can be applied in every area of life. Writing a report, learning a new skill, exercising, reading, planning or creating. Anytime focus is required, doing it when your mind feels sharp makes a difference. It is the difference between effort that produces results and effort that simply feels tiring. Every day offers opportunities to practice this. Every day offers moments of clarity that can be leveraged for meaningful accomplishment. Notice your mind, respect your energy, work when you feel ready, protect your focus, rest when necessary, review progress, adjust continuously, celebrate small wins. Repeat daily. This is not complicated. It is not rigid. It is practical, effective, and powerful. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Treat it as such. The first and most crucial step in mastering focused work is noticing when your mind feels sharp and starting exactly at that moment. The moment you begin, fully engaged, you create a habit that compounds over time. One sharp session leads to another. One productive hour becomes two. Your confidence grows, your results expand, your life changes. This principle is simple but profound. It is based on human psychology, energy management, and self-awareness. Implement it consistently, and the work you produce will reflect the power of a mind fully engaged at its natural best.
Chapter 2. Stop forcing focus and honor your natural attention rhythms today. Many people believe that productivity is about forcing yourself to focus no matter what. They sit at a desk, stare at a screen, and push against the resistance of fatigue or distraction. They think discipline means ignoring how their mind feels and powering through at all costs. But real discipline is not about forcing focus. True discipline is about understanding your own mental rhythms and working with them, not against them. Your mind has natural cycles. There are moments when it is alert, creative, and energetic, and there are moments when it is sluggish, distracted, or resistant. Recognizing and honoring these cycles is the key to consistent productivity and long-term success. Every day, your brain experiences fluctuations in energy, attention, and mental clarity. These are not random. They follow patterns based on sleep, nutrition, activity, and even emotional state. Some people are most alert in the early morning, while others peak in the late afternoon. Some people need brief bursts of focus followed by short breaks, while others can sustain attention for longer periods. Forcing focus when your brain is in a low-energy phase is counterproductive. You might feel like you are working, but the quality of your effort diminishes. Tasks take longer, mistakes increase, and frustration grows. Over time, this approach erodes confidence and motivation. Recognizing when your mind is naturally primed for attention allows you to apply effort efficiently and effectively. Honoring your attention rhythms also protects your mental energy. Every time you push through a period when your mind resists focus, you deplete your energy unnecessarily. You might get a few tasks done, but the cost is high. Your ability to think creatively, solve problems, and make sound decisions suffers. By contrast, when you work in alignment with your natural rhythms, you can tackle complex problems, make decisions quickly, and complete tasks with ease. Your work feels less like a struggle and more like an engagement of your full potential. This alignment is not luck. It is an intentional practice that anyone can develop with awareness and observation. The first step is to notice your natural attention pattern. Spend several days observing yourself without trying to change anything. Pay attention to when ideas flow easily, when your thoughts are organized, and when distractions feel minimal. Notice when tasks feel effortless versus when they feel like a battle. You might see patterns emerge. Perhaps mid-morning is when you can write or solve problems most efficiently. Maybe late afternoon is when you can review, organize, or plan effectively. Simply being aware of these rhythms is the foundation for honoring them. Awareness alone changes the way you approach your work. Once you recognize your natural peaks and valleys, you can schedule tasks strategically. Place high priority, complex or creative tasks during periods when your mind is most alert. Schedule routine, mechanical, or less demanding work during times when your attention naturally wanes. This approach maximizes output and minimizes wasted effort. It allows you to work in harmony with your mental energy instead of constantly fighting against it. Over time, your brain begins to anticipate these periods and prepares itself for focused work. You are no longer dependent on sheer willpower. You rely on natural mental momentum. Another important aspect of honoring your attention rhythms is letting go of guilt. Many people feel pressured to conform to traditional work schedules or societal expectations. They feel like they must push through fatigue because that is what they have been told success requires. The truth is that ignoring your natural rhythms does not make you disciplined. It makes you inefficient. Learning to work when your mind is ready requires courage because it goes against habit and social conditioning. But the rewards are immediate. You accomplish more in less time, you reduce stress, and you experience a sense of flow that reinforces productivity. Working with your energy is a strategic choice, not a shortcut. It is also essential to understand that mental clarity is influenced by more than just time of day. Sleep quality, nutrition, hydration, and movement all play significant roles. When you honor your attention rhythms, you also honor your body's needs. A well-rested mind functions differently than a fatigued one. Proper nutrition fuels focus, and movement refreshes energy. Paying attention to these factors allows you to enter periods of work fully prepared, enhancing your ability to concentrate without forcing it. Productivity is holistic. Your mind cannot be separated from your body if you want consistent results. Working in alignment with your natural attention cycles also reduces burnout. Constantly forcing focus creates tension, irritability, and a sense of being overwhelmed. You may accomplish tasks, but the process feels heavy and draining. When you honor your natural rhythms, the process itself becomes sustainable. You learn to balance effort and rest, creating a pattern that your mind and body can handle repeatedly without breaking down. This balance is not optional. It is essential for anyone who wants to maintain high performance over the long term. Mental energy is a renewable resource when managed wisely, but it must be respected. To put this principle into action, start by dividing your day into energy zones. Identify the times when your mind is sharp, moderate, or low in focus. Assign tasks accordingly. Use your sharpest periods for work that requires problem-solving, creativity, or decision-making. Use moderate periods for tasks that need attention but are less demanding. Reserve low-energy periods for recovery, reflection, or simpler activities. This practice allows you to maximize productivity while avoiding mental strain. Over time, this scheduling becomes intuitive. You begin to naturally adjust your day around your energy, and the need to force focus diminishes. Another technique is to observe micro-fluctuations within your natural cycles. Even during high-energy periods, Attention can waver for minutes or hours. Learning to notice these dips allows you to take timely breaks, stretch or move briefly to reset your focus. These micro-adjustments prevent fatigue and help maintain sustained attention without forcing it. Over time, your mind becomes more aware of its own rhythms, and focus becomes a skill honed through observation rather than sheer determination. This awareness strengthens self-discipline because you are no longer battling yourself. You are cooperating with your natural tendency. Honoring attention rhythms also improves decision-making. When your mind is fatigued, you are prone to mistakes, impulsive choices, and poor judgment. By scheduling work according to natural focus cycles, you approach tasks with clarity. You can analyze information accurately, weigh options effectively, and act confidently. This clarity extends beyond work into every area of life. Your communication improves, relationships benefit, and stress decreases because you are making decisions from a place of mental strength instead of fatigue. Aligning work with natural attention is not just about efficiency. It is about improving the quality of everything you do. Consistency is another advantage. When you stop forcing focus, you establish routines that your mind can anticipate. Your brain learns when to be alert and when to rest. This anticipation builds mental resilience. You are less likely to feel overwhelmed because work fits within a predictable framework. The mind craves rhythm, and honoring your natural attention creates that rhythm naturally. Over time, you experience steady, reliable productivity instead of peaks and valleys of frantic effort, followed by exhaustion. Discipline emerges not from force but from rhythm, awareness, and respect for your own energy patterns. Embracing your natural attention rhythms also requires flexibility. Life is unpredictable. Sleep schedules change, stress fluctuates, and responsibility arise unexpectedly. Honoring your focus means observing your energy in real time and adjusting your plans accordingly. It does not mean rigidly sticking to a predetermined schedule. It means responding intelligently to your own state of mind and energy. This flexibility reduces frustration and increases satisfaction because you work with reality, not against it. Mental alignment becomes a habit, and productivity becomes a natural byproduct of self-awareness. Another powerful benefit is the emotional impact. Working when your mind is ready reduces frustration and anxiety. Tasks no longer feel like an uphill struggle. Progress feels achievable, and accomplishment feels real. Your brain begins to associate work with competence, confidence, and control. Motivation is no longer a requirement, because focus happens naturally. Emotionally, you feel more satisfied, less drained, and more capable. These emotional rewards reinforce the behavior, making it easier to continue practicing alignment with your natural attention rhythms consistent. Finally, this principle transforms your life beyond work. When you honor your mind's natural rhythms, you develop patience, self-respect, and emotional intelligence. You learn to observe your internal states, make decisions based on awareness, and prioritize what truly matters. You gain the ability to manage energy, attention, and focus in all areas of life. You become more effective, more confident, and more fulfilled. Honoring your attention rhythms is not just a productivity strategy, it is a life strategy. It is the foundation for sustainable achievement, personal growth, and meaningful success. To implement this today, begin by observing yourself with honesty. Track when your mind feels alert and when it feels sluggish. Schedule your most important work during high-energy periods. Take breaks when attention wanes. Adjust daily based on real-time awareness. Notice the improvements in efficiency, clarity, and satisfaction. Over time, your natural rhythms become a guide that directs your work, your decisions, and your life. Stop forcing focus. Respect your mind. Work in alignment with your energy. This practice will transform your ability to accomplish more with less struggle, more clarity, and more fulfillment.
Chapter 3. Switch tasks only when your brain truly feels drained fully. Many people think that productivity is about constantly moving from one task to another. They believe that multitasking or frequent task switching is the key to getting more done. But the reality is very different. Switching tasks too early prevents your mind from reaching its peak capacity for any single activity. Every task requires a certain level of attention and mental energy to complete effectively. When you change tasks before your brain is truly spent, you sacrifice depth for the illusion of progress. You may feel busy, but the work you produce is often incomplete, shallow, or error-prone. Understanding when to switch tasks is not a technical trick. It is a skill that comes from observing your own mental energy and respecting the natural limits of your focus. Your brain has a limited capacity for deep work at any given time. Mental energy is not infinite. It fluctuates depending on sleep, stress, nutrition, and even emotional state. The key is to recognize when your mind has exhausted its resources on a particular task. Drained does not mean tired in a physical sense alone. It is the point when concentration starts to slip, mistakes increase, and problem-solving feels sluggish. This is the moment your brain signals that it has given all it can for that activity. Ignoring this signal and switching prematurely or forcing yourself to continue leads to frustration and reduces overall effectiveness. One of the most common mistakes is the belief that switching tasks frequently boosts productivity. People often justify this by thinking they are keeping busy or making progress on multiple fronts. But real productivity is not measured by how many tasks you touch. It is measured by the depth and quality of the results you produce. Every time you switch too soon, your brain needs time to adjust to the new context. Even a few minutes spent reorienting yourself costs cognitive energy. Over the course of the day, these small losses add up. The result is exhaustion without meaningful accomplishment. Recognizing when you are truly drained allows you to switch at the right moment, preserving mental energy and maximizing output. To implement this principle, first, learn to read the signals of mental fatigue accurately. These signals are subtle. You might notice that ideas take longer to generate, attention drifts frequently, or tasks that used to feel manageable now feel heavy. Physical tension, restlessness, or irritability are also indicators that your brain is nearing its limit. It is important to differentiate between temporary distractions or minor fatigue and genuine cognitive exhaustion. Training yourself to notice the difference is a key step in mastering focus. When you can accurately identify the point of real mental fatigue, you can make intentional choices about when to switch tasks. Once you recognize the signs of being fully drained, the next step is to decide intentionally what comes next. Switching tasks should be a conscious decision, not a reflexive escape from difficulty. Many people switch because a task feels uncomfortable or challenging, not because their brain is truly spent. Avoid this habit. Growth and mastery come from working through difficulty while you still have mental resources. Only when your attention has reached its natural limit should you transition to a new task. This approach ensures that every task receives the full benefit of your cognitive energy and that your overall performance remains high throughout the day. Strategically timing task switches also protects your mental clarity and reduces stress. When you push through tasks after your mind is drained, mistakes increase, decisions slow, and frustration rises. This creates a cycle of tension and dissatisfaction. By switching only when truly spent, you maintain the integrity of your work and the clarity of your thinking. You complete tasks with precision and move on to the next challenge with a sense of accomplishment. This method builds momentum because your energy is used efficiently and your brain is not overloaded unnecessarily. Understanding when to switch tasks also enhances learning and retention. When your brain is fully engaged on a task, information is processed more effectively and skills are developed more deeply.
Interrupting this process too early reduces retention and makes the task feel incomplete. Your brain needs time to consolidate information and internalize lessons. Allowing yourself to work until genuine cognitive fatigue ensures that knowledge and skills are fully absorbed. This approach transforms how you work, learn, and grow. Depth of focus leads to mastery, while premature switching leads to scattered understanding. Another critical factor is emotional awareness. People often switch tasks impulsively to avoid discomfort, boredom, or perceived difficulty. This behavior is driven by emotions, not mental exhaustion. Recognizing the difference is essential. When emotions rather than cognitive fatigue drive your decisions, you sabotage your productivity. Developing the ability to observe your emotional state without acting impulsively is a skill. It allows you to distinguish between discomfort that can be worked through and genuine mental limits. This awareness strengthens both your focus and your emotional resilience over time. Switching tasks strategically also impacts energy management. Mental energy is a finite resource for the day. Every decision, every effort, every moment of focus consumes a portion of this energy. If you move too quickly between tasks without fully engaging, you waste cognitive resources on transitions rather than production. Allowing yourself to complete a task fully before moving on ensures that energy is expended purposefully. Over the course of a day, this approach preserves strength, clarity, and motivation. You accomplish more while feeling less drained. Efficiency is not about speed, it is about intelligent allocation of mental resources. To practice this principle, consider pairing task switching with short restorative breaks. When a task is fully completed and your brain feels drained, take time to recharge before the next challenge. This recharge can be a brief walk, a few minutes of deep breathing, or a simple pause to rest your mind. These micro breaks allow the brain to reset, maintain focus, and sustain energy throughout the day. Task transitions then become deliberate and productive, rather than reactive and draining. The combination of focused effort, followed by intentional rest, is a powerful habit that multiplies effectiveness. This principle also encourages patience. Many people feel an urge to move quickly from one task to another, mistaking busyness for progress. Honoring the point of full cognitive engagement requires resisting this urge. It requires discipline to stay committed to a single task until genuine mental fatigue is reached. Patience in focus produces higher quality outcomes and reduces the mental chaos that comes from constant switching. It cultivates a sense of mastery because you learn to follow the natural rhythm of your mind rather than external pressures or habits formed from previous patterns. The benefits of switching tasks only when truly drained extend to problem solving and creativity. The brain works best when it can sustain attention on a problem until the underlying structures are understood. Interrupting this process prematurely can prevent solutions from emerging. Completing tasks fully strengthens the neural connections required for problem solving and deep thinking. This is why some of the best ideas often appear near the end of a concentrated effort. By recognizing the right moment to switch, you allow yourself to experience the full cognitive process, enhancing insight, innovation, and understanding. Task management also improves because of this principle. You begin to structure your day around realistic attention spans rather than idealized schedules. You allocate time for depth rather than attempting to cram multiple activities into the same hour. You understand that quality takes precedence over quantity. Planning becomes more strategic, decisions are made with clarity, and execution becomes deliberate. Task completion becomes a source of satisfaction instead of a source of stress because each item receives the focus it deserves before transitioning to the next. You build a rhythm of accomplishment that feeds momentum throughout the day. Another element is self-trust. By listening to your mind and honoring its limits, you build confidence in your own judgment. You begin to trust your ability to recognize when effort is sufficient and when it is time to move on. This trust eliminates second-guessing, reduces anxiety, and strengthens decision-making. You are no longer reacting impulsively or pushing blind. Instead, you operate with intelligence, awareness, and intentionality. Self-trust grows with each instance you honor your cognitive limits and switch at the right moment, creating a foundation for consistent achievement. Finally, this principle transforms the relationship between effort and results. When you switch tasks intentionally, the work you produce is sharper, more accurate, and more meaningful. Momentum increases because each task is illustrated thoroughly. Building confidence and reinforcing focus. Energy is preserved for the next challenge, making sustained productivity possible. Over time, this method cultivates a sense of mastery over your own mind, a clarity in decision-making, and a flow in work that is both efficient and satisfying. Switching tasks only when your brain is truly drained is not a restriction. It is a strategy that amplifies your ability to achieve and maintain excellence. By committing to this approach, you create a system where attention is treated as a valuable resource. You no longer move impulsively from task to task. You learn to engage fully, honor limits, recharge effectively, and transition deliberately. Every task is completed with intention. Every effort is aligned with energy, and every outcome reflects the full capacity of your focus. Over time, this discipline transforms how you work, how you think, and how you experience productivity. It is a principle rooted in human psychology, energy management, and practical wisdom. Following it consistently leads to sustainable growth, high performance, and personal fulfillment.
Chapter 4. Use small bursts of energy to get important work done. Most people think productivity comes from working long hours and pushing through exhaustion. They believe that the longer they sit at a desk, the more they accomplish. But the truth is very different. Real productivity comes from energy, not time. The brain and body are not designed for unbroken, continuous effort. They respond best to focused bursts of activity, followed by periods of rest or light recovery. Using small bursts of energy for important work allows you to tap into peak focus, maintain clarity, and achieve more than trying to push endlessly. The most impactful work is rarely completed by constant effort. It is achieved by smartly channeling energy when it matters most. A small burst of energy is a deliberate, concentrated effort on a single task for a short period of time. These bursts are intense, purposeful, and fully engaged. The duration is not the main factor. What matters is the quality of attention. During a well-planned burst, your mind is completely focused on the task. You are not checking messages, multitasking, or letting thoughts drift. You give your full capacity to that one activity. The result is work that is sharper, more precise, and far more effective than long, unfocused sessions. This approach leverages the brain's natural ability to concentrate deeply for limited periods, creating outcomes that exceed the sum of hours spent. One of the reasons small bursts are so effective is that they reduce mental fatigue. The brain cannot sustain high-level focus indefinitely. Long, continuous work sessions often lead to diminishing returns. The longer you push, the more your attention slips. Mistakes increase, and problem-solving becomes slower. By contrast, short, intense periods of effort allow you to reach a high level of productivity without overloading your mental energy. You work at your peak capacity, then take a pause to recover, and then return to work refreshed. This cycle repeats, creating a sustainable rhythm that produces consistent results without burnout. Small bursts of energy also enhance motivation. There is a psychological benefit to seeing progress in short, focused intervals. When you complete a burst and see tangible results, your brain rewards you with satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. This reward reinforces the behavior, making it easier to start the next session. Over time, these repeated cycles of effort and reward create momentum. You build a habit of productivity that is both disciplined and enjoyable.
You no longer rely solely on willpower, which fluctuates, but on a natural system that maximizes your energy and attention. The key to using bursts effectively is intentionality. Each burst must have a clear purpose and a specific goal. Randomly working for a short period without direction does not produce the same benefits. Before starting, identify what you aim to accomplish in this interval. Focus on tasks that truly matter, that move your life forward, that have a meaningful impact. Avoid trivial activities that consume energy without producing value. Energy is your most precious resource, and allocating it to important work ensures that every burst contributes to real progress. Clarity of purpose amplifies the effect of concentrated effort. Another important aspect is timing. Small bursts of energy should be aligned with your natural peaks in focus. Some people feel most alert in the morning, while others peak in the afternoon or evening. Identify when your brain is most capable of concentrated attention and schedule your bursts during these periods. Work that requires creativity, problem solving, or decision-making is best done when your mind is sharp. Routine, repetitive, or mechanical tasks can be saved for lower energy periods. Aligning effort with natural focus cycles multiplies results and reduces wasted effort. Recovery between bursts is as important as the effort itself. Short breaks allow your mind to reset, your attention to recover, and your energy to replenish. This recovery can take many forms: a walk, stretching, deep breathing, a brief conversation, or even a moment of quiet reflection can be enough to restore focus. During these intervals, your brain processes information from the previous session, strengthens neural connections, and prepares for the next challenge. Skipping recovery leads to fatigue, reduced clarity, and decreased performance. Respecting the pause ensures that each subsequent burst is as productive as the first. Using small bursts also trains the brain to focus. Many people struggle with attention because they have trained themselves to work in long, uninterrupted sessions that exceed their natural attention span. Short, deliberate intervals teach your mind to concentrate fully on a task. Each session reinforces the habit of deep attention, and over time, your ability to sustain tasks naturally improves. You are effectively exercising your concentration muscles in a way that builds stamina without unnecessary strain. The mind becomes sharper, more resilient, and more capable of tackling complex challenges efficiently. Small bursts of energy are particularly powerful for tackling difficult or overwhelming tasks. Large projects can feel intimidating and lead to procrastination. Breaking work into focused intervals makes even the most challenging task manageable. You approach the work incrementally, completing meaningful portions without feeling paralyzed by scale. Each completed burst generates momentum, builds confidence, and reduces mental resistance. The project progresses steadily, and your mind experiences achievement regularly rather than waiting until the end to feel success. This approach reduces stress, builds resilience, and fosters a positive relationship with work. The emotional dimension of using small bursts cannot be overstated. Completing intense, focused work in short intervals creates a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction that fuels further effort. You feel capable, confident, and in control. This emotional reinforcement is essential for building long-term habits of productivity. Motivation becomes internal rather than external because your mind associates effort with tangible results and personal competence. The satisfaction of completing focused work energizes you, creating a feedback loop that strengthens discipline, consistency, and personal growth. Small bursts also enhance creativity and problem solving. The brain functions optimally when attention is concentrated, but not exhausted. During these periods, neural pathways fire efficiently, ideas connect more easily, and insights emerge naturally. If you try to push through long sessions without focus, creativity diminishes, decisions become slower, and solutions are less innovative. Short, intense periods of attention preserve the brain's creative capacity and allow you to approach problems with clarity and flexibility. You produce work that is smarter, more effective, and more impactful because your mind is operating at its natural best. Another critical benefit is flexibility. Small bursts allow you to adjust effort based on energy, time, and circumstances. You are not locked into rigid schedules or unrealistic expectations. If energy dips, you can pause and recover. If energy peaks unexpectedly, you can extend a burst slightly to take advantage of heightened focus. This adaptability ensures that you are always working in alignment with your actual mental and physical state. Flexibility reduces stress, maintains performance, and keeps work sustainable over time. You are in control of your energy, not enslaved by a clock or external pressure. To implement this in practice, start by selecting a task that matters. Decide on a time interval for your burst, which could be 20, 30, or 50 minutes, depending on your attention span. Fully engage in the work, minimizing distractions and focusing exclusively on the goal. When the time ends, step away, recover briefly, and evaluate what you have accomplished. Repeat with the next task or the next segment of the same project. Over days and weeks, you will notice a dramatic increase in productivity, clarity, and satisfaction. Energy bursts train your mind, protect your focus, and amplify results consistently. Using bursts also changes the perception of effort. Work no longer feels endless or overwhelming. The day is segmented into achievable, purposeful intervals. Each burst is a victory in itself, and cumulatively, they produce substantial outcomes. This sense of progress is motivating and energizing. Your relationship with work transforms because you learn that consistent, focused action, even in small amounts, can generate extraordinary results over time. You experience mastery, not by pushing harder, but by focusing smarter. The principle also strengthens self-awareness. You begin to understand your own energy patterns, attention spans, and capacity for concentration. You learn to recognize the signs of peak focus, fatigue, and recovery. This awareness allows you to plan work strategically, avoid unnecessary strain, and maintain consistent performance. Over time, your mind becomes a reliable partner rather than a source of frustration. You operate with insight, intentionality, and confidence because you understand how to harness your natural energy for maximum result. Finally, using small bursts of energy for important work is not just a strategy for getting tasks done, it is a strategy for building a life of intentional action. It creates a foundation for discipline, clarity, and consistent achievement. Each focused interval strengthens your mind, reinforces your habits, and cultivates a sense of capability. Over time, the accumulation of these bursts transforms your ability to manage attention, energy, and result. You accomplish more in less time, reduce mental strain, and experience deep satisfaction from meaningful work. This is the power of working with your energy, not against it, and it is accessible to anyone willing to practice it consistently.
Chapter 5. Recognize distractions quickly and redirect attention back without guilt immediately. Distractions are everywhere. They are constant. They come in the form of notifications, thoughts about other tasks, interruptions from people, or even the mind's tendency to wander. Most people fight distractions with frustration or guilt. They beat themselves up when attention drifts or when external interruptions pull them away from work. This reaction, however, only makes the problem worse. The key is not to avoid distractions entirely. That is impossible, but to recognize them quickly and redirect your attention back immediately. The moment you notice your focus has shifted, you have the opportunity to reclaim control. The faster you act, the less energy is lost, and the more your mind remains aligned with meaningful work. Distractions are natural. The human brain is wired to notice stimuli, to respond to changes in the environment, and to wander. This is not a flaw, it is part of how humans process information. The challenge is learning to notice these moments without judgment. When a thought or interruption pulls you away, the first step is awareness. Recognize that your attention has shifted. This is the moment of truth, the chance to decide how you will respond. Awareness transforms the situation from a problem into an opportunity. You are not failing. You are observing. You are gaining insight into your habits and tendencies. This is the foundation of productive focus. Once a distraction is noticed, the next step is to redirect attention without guilt. Guilt is counterproductive. When you criticize yourself for losing focus, the mind experiences tension and stress, which reduces clarity and cognitive performance. Instead, acknowledge the distraction calmly, release it, and return to the task at hand. Think of it as a mental reset. You are not punishing yourself for wandering. You are choosing intentionally to focus again. The faster you do this, the less cognitive energy is wasted, and the more consistent your productivity becomes. This approach creates a habit of resilient attention that strengthens with practice. Understanding the sources of distraction is also critical. Some distractions are external, like phone notifications, emails, or conversations. Others are internal, like anxiety, random thoughts, or planning unrelated tasks in your mind. By identifying the source quickly, you can address it appropriately. External distractions may require environmental adjustments, such as silencing notifications, closing unnecessary tabs, or creating a quiet workspace. Internal distractions may need brief mental exercises, like jotting down thoughts on paper or taking a short pause to organize your mind. Recognizing the type of distraction allows for a more effective and immediate return to focus. The timing of response matters. When attention drifts for even a few seconds, the mind can spiral into prolonged distraction. The longer you allow wandering thoughts to persist, the more effort it takes to regain concentration. Quick recognition prevents small distractions from becoming long interruptions. Over time, this practice trains the brain to monitor itself continuously. You develop the skill of noticing micro-distractions instantly, creating a seamless flow of attention. Each time you redirect focus quickly, you reinforce neural pathways that strengthen sustained concentration. This is how high performers maintain clarity and productivity, even in busy environments. A critical technological aspect of this process is self-compassion. Distractions are not a sign of weakness, they are part of the natural ebb and flow of attention. Approaching them with self-compassion reduces mental resistance and anxiety. When the mind feels safe to refocus without fear or judgment, attention returns more easily. This approach aligns with the principle that productivity is not about perfection, it is about consistent, intentional effort. By combining recognition, quick redirection, and self-compassion, you create a system where distractions do not derail your progress, but become opportunities for mindful recovery of focus. Developing cues or triggers can make this process more automatic. For example, noticing the first signs of mind wandering, like daydreaming or repetitive thoughts, can act as a signal to reset attention. External reminders, such as timers or visual prompts, can reinforce the habit. These cues do not enforce discipline artificially, they guide the mind back to work naturally. Over time, your brain learns to respond almost immediately to distractions, making the redirection process effortless.
The habit becomes a natural rhythm rather than a forced effort. This skill compounds over weeks and months, creating lasting improvements in attention management. Another essential aspect is prioritization. Not all distractions are equal. Some may be urgent and require immediate action, while others are irrelevant and wasteful. Learning to evaluate distractions in real time ensures that energy is allocated efficiently. Quick assessment prevents unnecessary interruptions from consuming mental capacity. By distinguishing between meaningful and meaningless distractions, you maintain control over your focus. You decide what deserves attention and what does not. This clarity reduces anxiety and enhances productivity because the mind is not pulled in multiple directions simultaneously. Environmental design supports distraction management. Physical surroundings, digital settings, and social context all influence attention. A cluttered workspace, constant notifications, or frequent interruptions create conditions for repeated distraction. By creating an environment conducive to focus, you reduce the frequency and intensity of attention shifts. The environment becomes an ally rather than a source of chaos. Yet even in less than ideal conditions, the principle remains: recognize quickly and redirect without guilt. The skill is internal, not entirely dependent on surroundings. Mastery of attention comes from the ability to control the mind's focus, not the world around it. Emotional awareness plays a significant role. Distractions often trigger emotional reactions, such as frustration, impatience, or guilt. These emotions can compound the cognitive load and make it harder to regain focus. By observing emotional responses calmly, you prevent them from hijacking attention. Recognizing that distraction is neutral and that returning to work is an empowered choice restores mental clarity. Emotional regulation enhances the speed and effectiveness of redirection. It also builds resilience, making you less reactive and more capable of sustaining focus under pressure. Recognizing distractions quickly also enhances time management. Each interruption, no matter how brief, accumulates into significant lost time. Early identification prevents prolonged engagement with irrelevant activities. When you return to work promptly, you reclaim minutes and hours that would otherwise be wasted. This practice transforms the perception of time from chaotic to manageable. You gain a sense of control over the day, reducing stress and increasing confidence in your ability to accomplish tasks efficiently. Time becomes an ally rather than an adversary. The technique also cultivates mental clarity and creativity. Distractions fragment thought patterns, interrupting problem-solving and creative flow. Rapid redirection ensures continuity of thought, allowing ideas to develop fully. This continuity produces work that is coherent, insightful, and meaningful. Your brain operates in a state of sustained engagement, capable of connecting complex concepts and generating solutions. By maintaining focus through intentional redirection, you unlock cognitive potential that is otherwise lost to fragmented attention. Another benefit is the reduction of procrastination. Many people confuse distraction with avoidance. They allow minor interruptions to snowball, postponing meaningful work. Recognizing and addressing distractions immediately removes this obstacle. You no longer allow your mind to wander into procrastination territory. Each prompt recognition reinforces the habit of tackling work decisively. The act of returning to focus becomes a statement of personal authority over your time, energy, and priorities. Small techniques can support this practice. For example, keeping a notepad to jot down intrusive thoughts ensures that they are acknowledged but not pursued immediately. Setting strict boundaries for communication during high-focus periods prevents external interruptions. Using simple mindfulness exercise enhances awareness of mental shifts. These strategies create a scaffolding that reinforces quick recognition and redirection. The ultimate skill, however, is internal. The ability to notice distraction in real time and act without self-judgment. Consistency strengthens the effect. The more you practice immediate recognition and redirection, the more automatic it becomes. Your brain begins to anticipate distractions and responds instinctively. Focus becomes a habit rather than a challenge. The mind learns to recover quickly from shifts in attention, maintaining performance and efficiency. Over time, this skill compounds, producing profound improvements in productivity, clarity, and emotional stability. You gain mastery over your own attention, which is the foundation for success in any endeavor. Finally, this principle transforms your relationship with work. Work no longer feels constantly interrupted or chaotic. You no longer view distractions as failures or weaknesses. Instead, they are temporary signals that you respond to intelligently. Each instance of recognition and redirection reinforces your competence, self-control, and confidence. This creates a positive cycle where focus strengthens, energy is preserved, and results improve. Over time, the accumulation of these actions leads to consistent high performance, deeper satisfaction, and meaningful achievement. The ability to recognize distractions quickly and redirect attention without guilt is a skill that changes not only your work but your life.
Chapter 6. Rest actively when focus fades to restore body and mind fast. Most people underestimate the power of rest. They think that working longer and harder is the only way to get ahead. They sit at their desk, pushing through fatigue, believing that effort alone determines results. But the mind and body have limits. Focus is not infinite, and ignoring signs of mental fatigue reduces productivity and clarity. The most successful people understand that rest is not a reward for effort. It is an essential part of the process. Rest is a tool, a strategy, and an investment in performance. Using rest actively instead of passively allows you to recharge quickly and return to work with energy, clarity, and precision. Rest is not simply stopping work. Passive rest, like staring at a screen or scrolling through social media, does not restore attention or energy. It often creates mental clutter and prolongs fatigue. Active rest, by contrast, is deliberate and intentional. It involves engaging in activities that refresh the mind and body, clear mental tension, and restore focus. Examples include brief walks, stretching, deep breathing exercises, light movement, or even moments of quiet reflection. Active rest stimulates circulation, relaxes muscles, and resets the nervous system. It creates the conditions for renewed focus and peak performance when you return to work. One reason active rest works so effectively is that the brain processes information even when you are not consciously focused on a task. Stepping away from work allows your subconscious mind to organize thoughts, solve problems, and generate creative solutions. Often, stepping back produces insights that would not have emerged during continuous effort. The mind needs these pauses to consolidate information, integrate learning, and approach challenges with clarity. Ignoring rest deprives your brain of this essential processing time, which reduces the quality of decisions, creativity, and problem-solving ability. Recognizing when focus fades is crucial. Fatigue does not always arrive with obvious signals. Sometimes it shows up subtly as slower thinking, minor mistakes, or difficulty sustaining attention. Other times it manifests as irritability, restlessness, or a sense of frustration with tasks that normally feel manageable. Being attuned to these signals allows you to act proactively rather than reactively. The earlier you rest, the faster your energy and focus return. Ignoring the signs prolongs struggle and reduces overall productivity. Observing yourself honestly and responding to mental fatigue with intentional action is a skill that separates high performers from those who burn out.
Active rest also improves emotional resilience. Continuous effort without recovery generates stress, tension, and a sense of overwhelm. Mental energy is not just cognitive, it is emotional as well. When focus fades, the mind becomes more susceptible to negative emotions, which interfere with decision-making and attention. Engaging in active rest relieves emotional tension, improves mood, and restores composure. You return to work not just with renewed focus, but with a clearer, calmer mindset. Emotional recovery is as essential as mental recovery, and active rest addresses both simultaneously. Energy management is a critical principle of active rest. Every individual has fluctuating energy levels throughout the day. The ability to recognize these fluctuations and use rest strategically allows you to maximize output while minimizing fatigue. For example, after a concentrated effort of 50 or 60 minutes, taking a brief period of active rest can restore attention more effectively than continuing to push through mental fatigue. These pauses create a sustainable rhythm of work and recovery that enables you to maintain high performance over extended periods. Energy management is not a luxury, it is a skill that produces results consistently. Active rest can take many forms depending on your personal needs and circumstances. A short walk outdoors not only moves the body, but exposes you to natural light, which improves alertness. Stretching releases physical tension accumulated during work, reducing discomfort and improving circulation. Deep breathing exercises relax the nervous system, lower stress, and enhance focus. Brief meditation or mindful reflection clears mental clutter, allowing ideas to reset and priorities to realign. Even small adjustments, like changing posture or stepping away from a desk, can have profound effects on attention and energy. The key is intentionality. The activity must serve the purpose of restoring focus and clarity. The habit of resting actively also strengthens self-awareness. By observing your energy levels, attention, and mental clarity, you learn to identify patterns in your productivity. You notice which activities drain you, which restore you, and which times of day are best for focused work. This knowledge allows you to plan your work more strategically, aligning high-demand tasks with periods of peak energy and incorporating rest when needed. Over time, this practice transforms the way you work. You no longer rely on willpower alone. Instead, you work intelligently, in harmony with your own natural rhythms. Another benefit of active rest is the prevention of burnout. Many people associate success with constant effort and long hours, believing that taking breaks signifies laziness or weakness. This mindset is flawed. Ignoring the need for recovery leads to mental exhaustion, physical fatigue, and decreased performance. Active rest creates a sustainable model of productivity. It allows you to continue performing at a high level day after day without sacrificing health or clarity. Rest is not the opposite of productivity, it is a fundamental component of understanding. This distinction transforms both results and quality of life. The timing of rest is strategic. Short, frequent breaks are often more effective than long, infrequent pauses. A 5-minute walk, 2 minutes of stretching, or a brief breathing exercise between focused work intervals can prevent mental depletion before it becomes overwhelming. These micro-recharges maintain energy levels and preserve clarity, allowing each subsequent work session to be productive. Longer breaks may be necessary after particularly demanding tasks, but the principle remains the same. Rest actively, not passively, and use the time to restore attention and energy. Consistency and intentionality in applying rest amplify its effectiveness. Active rest also improves decision-making and problem-solving. Fatigued minds make errors, overlook details, and struggle with complex issues. When you allow your brain to reset, it returns to work with greater clarity, sharper judgment, and enhanced creativity. Challenges that previously seemed overwhelming become manageable, and solutions emerge more readily. Resting actively transforms the quality of work, not just the quantity. It allows the mind to operate at its natural best, producing better outcomes and sustaining performance over time. Strategic recovery is a key differentiator between those who maintain excellence and those who struggle to keep up. Implementing active rest successfully requires discipline. It is easy to dismiss breaks as unimportant or wasteful, especially when deadlines loom. The mindset shift involves understanding that work without rest is inefficient, and short, deliberate pauses increase overall productivity. Prioritizing recovery is not indulgence, it is intelligence. You are investing in the quality of your attention, energy, and decision-making. Each intentional rest period is a building block for sustained achievement and a stronger, more resilient mind. Physical activity during rest periods magnifies benefits. Moving the body increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients essential for mental performance. Simple exercises, stretching, or a walk engage the body without taxing cognitive resources. These movements release tension, improve posture, and reduce stress hormones. The body and mind are interconnected, and restoring one improves the other. Ignoring physical restoration while working intensively is a missed opportunity. Active rest addresses both mental and physical aspects, creating a holistic approach to maintaining focus, energy, and resilience. Mindful techniques during rest periods also enhance recovery. Paying attention to breathing, sensations in the body, or the surrounding environment engages the mind in a calming way. This practice reduces mental chatter, prevents anxiety from building, and restores a sense of control over attention. Mindfulness during active rest improves awareness of mental states, making it easier to recognize when focus fades in the future. Over time, this strengthens your ability to manage attention proactively rather than reactively, and enhances overall mental clarity and emotional balance. The cumulative effect of active rest is profound. Each pause may seem small individually, but collectively, they preserve energy, maintain focus, and enhance performance. Work becomes more efficient, decisions more precise, and creativity more accessible. Stress decreases, motivation increases, and the sense of accomplishment grows. You learn to work smarter, not harder. You experience the flow of consistent high-quality output without sacrificing well-being or mental sharpness. Active rest transforms the way you approach work, turning fatigue into opportunity and effort into sustainable achievement. Finally, active rest fosters a positive relationship with work. It removes the pressure to push through fatigue and replaces it with a strategy that values efficiency, energy, and focus. You approach tasks with clarity and calm, rather than exhaustion and stress. The mind becomes a reliable tool, capable of sustained performance, innovation, and problem-solving. Work becomes a partnership with your own energy and attention, rather than a struggle against it. By resting actively, when focus fades, you protect your mental and physical resources, improve the quality of your output, and build a system of productivity that is sustainable, effective, and deeply satisfying.
Chapter 7. Build awareness of time by observing how long you stay engaged. Most people think they understand how they spend their time, but the truth is that very few of us truly do. Hours pass by unnoticed, and attention slips in ways that go unseen. Time is not just a measure of hours or minutes, it is the container for our effort, focus, and results. To improve productivity, it is not enough to work hard or stay busy. The key is to build awareness of how long you stay engaged on a task, and to observe the natural rhythms of your focus. Knowing this allows you to align your work with your mental energy, optimize results, and reclaim control over your day. Observing engagement requires honest attention to your own behavior. It is easy to convince yourself that you are focused when in reality, attention drifts frequently. A timer or a simple log can reveal surprising truths about your work patterns. You might notice that your focus naturally fades after a certain period, or that you are capable of intense concentration for longer stretches than you realized. These observations are not meant to judge yourself. They are tools for understanding your natural attention span. Awareness creates the opportunity for intentional action, which leads to more consistent productivity. The first step in building awareness is noticing when your mind begins to wander. Mental fatigue does not always arrive abruptly. It creeps in slowly through small distractions, repetitive thoughts, or subtle declines in engagement. Becoming aware of these signs is essential. By paying attention to the precise moment your attention begins to weaken, you gain insight into your natural limits. This is not about limiting effort. It is about learning when your mind is operating at peak efficiency and when it needs a break or a shift in strategy. Observing without judgment is the foundation of mastery. Another important factor is recognizing the variability in engagement across tasks. Some activities naturally demand more focus than others. Creative work, problem solving, and decision-making require deep attention, while routine or mechanical tasks demand less. By observing how long you can stay fully engaged in different types of work, you can schedule tasks according to your energy and focus capacity. This allows you to allocate attention where it matters most, ensuring that the most important work is done during periods of maximum engagement. Observation becomes a tool for strategic planning. Keeping track of engagement over time develops self-discipline. When you measure how long you stay focused, you gain a clearer picture of your mental stamina and limits. This knowledge prevents overcommitting, reduces frustration, and helps set realistic expectations. You begin to structure your day around natural attention spans rather than arbitrary schedules. Over time, this practice strengthens self-regulation because you can recognize when pushing further will produce diminishing return. Awareness transforms effort into intentional, effective work rather than random activity. Building awareness of time also improves the quality of work. Attention is like a lens. The sharper and more focused it is, the clearer and more precise the results. When you notice how long you remain engaged, you can time tasks to coincide with periods of maximum clarity. You avoid the trap of long, unfocused work that produces errors or requires redoing later. Observing engagement ensures that energy is used wisely, producing output that is not only complete, but also high in quality. Productivity becomes a reflection of mental clarity, not just time spent at a desk. Self-observation also creates accountability. By recording how long you stay engaged, you have objective data on your habits. This eliminates guesswork and excuses. You begin to notice patterns. Certain times of day are more productive, specific environments enhance focus, and particular activities drain attention faster. This insight empowers decision-making and allows you to adjust routines to maximize efficiency. Awareness transforms habits from unconscious behaviors into deliberate, optimized practices. The simple act of observing becomes a powerful catalyst for improvement. Another benefit of this awareness is enhanced energy management. Mental energy is finite, and knowing how long you stay engaged allows you to allocate effort strategically. You avoid overextending yourself on tasks that exceed your natural attention span, which prevents fatigue and burnout. Conversely, you can extend focus on tasks when your engagement is strong, making full use of peak mental energy. Observation allows for intelligent planning, balancing effort and rest to sustain productivity over the course of the day. Energy is managed proactively rather than reactively. Emotional insight is a hidden advantage of observing engagement. When attention wanes, emotions like frustration, boredom, or impatience often emerge. By noticing how these feelings correlate with engagement patterns, you can address them effectively. Perhaps a challenging task triggers early fatigue, or certain distractions amplify emotional responses. Awareness allows you to anticipate these reactions,
mitigate their impact, and maintain focus longer. Emotional regulation and attention management are interconnected, and observing engagement provides the data needed to optimize both. The practice of observing focus also cultivates patience. Many people try to force extended attention beyond natural limits, which leads to frustration and wasted effort. By recognizing the natural length of time you remain engaged, you can work within realistic boundaries. Patience is not about slowing down, it is about aligning effort with mental capacity. When you honor your natural rhythm, work becomes less stressful, more efficient, and more productive. Awareness of engagement duration allows for a sustainable approach that balances effort, quality, and result. Observation also improves decision-making about task prioritization. Knowing when your focus is strong helps determine which activities should be tackled first. Important high-impact work is best done when engagement is at its peak. Less demanding or administrative tasks can be scheduled for periods of lower focus. This strategic alignment ensures that energy is applied where it has the most significant effect. Over time, decisions about workload become informed, deliberate, and aligned with natural attention capacity rather than arbitrary expectations or external pressures. The process of observing engagement can be enhanced through structured tracking. Simple techniques like using a notebook, a timer, or digital tools provide data to analyze patterns, record start and end times for focus sessions, note interruptions, and reflect on mental clarity throughout. Over time, this creates a map of attention patterns that guides daily planning. Structured observation turns awareness into actionable insights, allowing you to design work intervals, schedule tasks, and allocate rest periods in harmony with your natural engagement cycles. Measurement reinforces understanding and empowers strategy. Observing engagement also reduces stress and guilt associated with perceived underperformance. Many people feel inadequate when focus fades, even though fatigue is a natural signal. By tracking how long you stay engaged and understanding your patterns, you remove judgment from the process. Attention lapses become neutral data points rather than failures. This mindset shift reduces anxiety, increases confidence, and fosters a healthier relationship with work. Awareness of time spent engaged allows you to respond intelligently rather than emotionally, preserving mental energy and motivation. The brain absorbs and consolidates information most effectively when focus is sustained for optimal periods. By observing how long you remain engaged, you can schedule study, practice, or creative work to maximize retention. Awareness ensures that learning occurs during peak attention, preventing wasted effort and reinforcing long-term mastery. Observing engagement is not just about productivity, it is about enhancing mental performance, memory, and skill development, making every moment of focus count toward meaningful progress. The habit of monitoring engagement self-mastery. Over weeks and months, you develop a keen sense of your attention limits, preferences, and capabilities. You intuitively know when focus is strong, when it is fading, and when recovery is necessary. This internal awareness reduces reliance on external tools or motivation, creating self-reliance and personal authority over your attention. Mastery of focus is a skill that compounds over time, enhancing both professional and personal effectiveness. Observation becomes a pathway to disciplined, intentional, and high-quality work. Finally, building awareness of time by observing engagement transforms the way you approach productivity. Work is no longer measured merely by hours spent or tasks started. It is measured by the quality, intensity, and sustainability of attention. You understand yourself better, allocate energy wisely, manage focus strategically, and create results that reflect the full potential of your effort. Observation is not passive, it is an active tool for improvement, growth, and mastery. The practice of monitoring engagement empowers you to work intelligently, sustain performance, and achieve results consistently without unnecessary strain or wasted energy.
Chapter 8. Prioritize tasks that energize you instead of exhausting your willpower. Most people start their day by tackling the tasks they feel obligated to do, the ones that seem urgent but not necessarily important. They sit at their desk and force themselves through items that drain energy, relying entirely on willpower to push forward. This approach creates stress, fatigue, and frustration. Willpower is not infinite. It's a finite resource that depletes quickly when used to battle tasks that are unaligned with your energy and motivation. The secret to sustained productivity is not harder effort. It is intelligent prioritization. Focusing on tasks that energize you produces momentum, clarity, and results without exhausting your mental reserves. Understanding what energizes you begins with self-awareness. Not every task is equal. Some activities light up your mind, spark creativity, and engage your problem-solving ability. Others feel like pulling teeth, sapping enthusiasm, and slowing progress. Take a moment to evaluate your daily responsibilities. Identify which tasks make you feel alive, focused, and productive. These are the activities to prioritize. When you align your work with what energizes you, attention flows naturally, decisions come easily, and mental clarity improves. You do not need to rely on brute willpower because energy is intrinsic, not forced. Energizing tasks are not always easy. They are often meaningful. They demand engagement, but in a way that feels natural and rewarding. These tasks often have clear outcomes, visible impact, and personal significance. They stimulate the mind rather than drain it. In contrast, tasks that exhaust willpower are typically monotonous, repetitive, or disconnected from your goals. They require constant effort to stay on track, creating friction that slows progress and diminishes satisfaction. By recognizing the difference, you can design your day to maximize productivity while maintaining mental stamina. Prioritizing energizing tasks also influences motivation. When you begin your day with work that excites and engages you, the mind enters a state of momentum. Each completed task reinforces confidence and satisfaction, making subsequent work easier and more enjoyable. Motivation is no longer dependent on external pressure or rigid schedules. It is a natural byproduct of engaging in work that resonates with your strengths and interests. Energy feeds productivity, and productivity fuels energy in a positive cycle that allows you to accomplish more without struggle. Another advantage of focusing on energizing tasks is reduced procrastination. People often delay work that feels draining because it is psychologically taxing. The brain naturally avoids depletion, which is why willpower alone cannot sustain performance. By prioritizing tasks that align with energy, you minimize the mental resistance that leads to procrastination. You start your day with momentum rather than friction. Progress becomes visible early, which reinforces commitment and confidence. You do not need to fight against yourself. You are working with your natural inclinations. Energy management is the central principle behind this approach. Every person has fluctuating levels of mental and physical energy throughout the day. Some hours are naturally sharper, clearer, and more focused than others. Aligning tasks with these natural peaks multiplies efficiency and effectiveness. Challenging, high-value activities should be scheduled when energy is abundant. Routine or less critical tasks can be allocated to periods of lower energy. This alignment ensures that cognitive resources are used wisely, reducing fatigue and maintaining performance across the day. It is not about working harder, but about working smarter.
Understanding which tasks drain willpower versus which energize requires careful observation. Pay attention to how you feel before, during, and after different activities. Are you invigorated and alert, or are you tired and irritable? Do you leave the task feeling accomplished or depleted? These subtle cues provide critical information for future planning. Over time, this practice cultivates a deep understanding of your natural strengths, preferences, and energy patterns. You learn not only what to prioritize, but when to schedule it for maximum impact. Awareness creates intentional action, which is the foundation of consistent productivity. Focusing on energizing tasks also enhances creativity and decision-making. The mind performs best when attention is engaged but not exhausted. Tasks that stimulate rather than drain allow problem-solving skills, innovation, and insight to operate at peak efficiency. By contrast, work that relies solely on willpower reduces mental clarity and slows cognitive processing. Aligning effort with natural energy enables sharper thinking, faster solutions, and higher quality outcomes. Prioritization is not just about efficiency, it is about improving the quality of work and thought through intelligent energy allocation. This principle also strengthens self-discipline in a sustainable way. Traditional approaches rely on willpower to force attention and effort, which is exhausting and unreliable over time. By choosing energizing tasks first, discipline becomes effortless because motivation and interest support action. You are no longer forcing yourself to work against mental resistance. Discipline emerges naturally from alignment, creating habits that are easier to maintain. This shift transforms the experience of productivity from struggle to engagement, making consistent high performance achievable without burnout. Energizing tasks also enhance emotional resilience. Work that aligns with energy and interest generates positive emotions, satisfaction, engagement, and accomplishment. Draining tasks trigger stress, frustration, and fatigue. By prioritizing energizing work, you build momentum while preserving emotional well-being. The mind remains calm and focused rather than tense and fatigued. Emotional energy is as important as mental energy for sustained focus, and the choice of tasks directly influences emotional state. High-impact work completed with energy strengthens confidence, reduces anxiety, and fosters a sense of purpose. Strategic scheduling reinforces this principle. Break your day into blocks of time that match your energy levels. Place high-focus, energizing tasks during periods of peak clarity. Insert necessary but less engaging work during natural low-energy periods. This scheduling reduces the reliance on willpower, ensures consistent progress, and prevents fatigue. Over time, you learn to anticipate when energy peaks and when rest is needed. Planning work according to energy levels creates a rhythm that supports long-term productivity and sustainable performance. The habit of prioritizing energizing tasks also fosters long-term personal growth. When work aligns with natural energy and interest, you are more likely to develop skills, deepen knowledge, and pursue meaningful projects. Energy supports learning and mastery, creating cumulative growth over weeks and months. In contrast, relying on willpower alone often leads to stagnation because mental resources are constantly depleted. Alignment between energy and tasks allows you to make consistent progress toward goals while preserving clarity, focus, and motivation. Understanding the cost of exhausting tasks is critical. Work that relies heavily on willpower can produce results in the short term, but reduces energy for subsequent tasks. Each act of forced attention depletes cognitive and emotional resources, creating diminishing returns. The more you resist, the more energy is drained. Recognizing this cost emphasizes the importance of prioritization. Choosing energizing work first is not avoidance. It is an investment in sustained performance and result. Efficiency is not measured by hours worked, but by the impact of work completed with clarity and energy. Active reflection strengthens this approach. At the end of each day, review which tasks energized you and which drained you. Note the circumstances, timing and mental state during each activity. This reflection builds insight into patterns of energy and focus, guiding future prioritization decisions. You begin to design days intentionally rather than reacting to obligation. Awareness, reflection, and alignment become habits that compound over time, producing higher productivity, more satisfaction, and better results with less effort. Another aspect is creating boundaries to protect energy. Distractions, unnecessary tasks, and obligations can consume willpower and reduce available energy for meaningful work. By prioritizing tasks that energize you, you also learn to say no to low-value demands. Boundaries preserve focus and prevent burnout. Protecting energy is not selfish. It is essential for consistent performance, clarity, and personal growth. When attention is shielded from unnecessary drains, high-value work receives the energy it deserves. Prioritization also enhances long-term motivation. Each energizing task completed reinforces competence, confidence, and engagement. Momentum builds, making subsequent work easier and more satisfying. In contrast, focusing primarily on draining tasks erodes motivation and reduces. By consciously choosing work that energizes, you cultivate a cycle of achievement, satisfaction, and sustained engagement. Energy becomes a lever that amplifies results rather than a resource constantly depleted by struggle. Finally, prioritizing energizing tasks transforms your relationship with work. Work becomes an expression of your energy, creativity, and capability rather than a battle of willpower. You feel motivated, clear-headed, and confident. Productivity no longer depends on force or struggle. Each day becomes an opportunity to leverage your natural energy for meaningful impact. The cumulative effect is mastery over focus, consistent achievement, and a deeply satisfying approach to work. By aligning effort with what energizes rather than exhausts, you unlock both efficiency and fulfillment.
Chapter 9. Celebrate small completed sessions to motivate yourself for longer periods. Most people underestimate the power of small wins. They focus only on the big achievements, the milestones that seem distant and overwhelming, and forget that progress is built one step at a time. The mind responds to success, no matter how small. Completing a short, focused session of work creates a sense of accomplishment, a surge of motivation, and a signal to the brain that effort leads to results. By celebrating these small sessions, you reinforce focus, increase energy, and prepare yourself to sustain attention for longer periods. Recognition of small victories is not trivial. It is a strategy for building momentum and mastering your attention. Acknowledging small completed sessions changes your perception of work. Instead of seeing the day as a series of endless tasks, each small session becomes a measurable achievement. This approach rewires the brain to associate effort with reward, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens engagement. Motivation is not something to wait for. It is cultivated through repeated, tangible progress. Celebrating small wins triggers satisfaction, reduces procrastination, and fuels the desire to continue working. The mind thrives on reinforcement, and consistent recognition of progress builds resilience and sustained focus. Celebration does not have to be elaborate. It can be as simple as taking a deep breath, stretching, or pausing to appreciate the completion of a session. The key is intentional recognition of achievement. This conscious act sends a message to your subconscious that effort matters and progress is real. Over time, these small celebrations accumulate, creating a sense of accomplishment that supports longer,
more intense periods of work. Momentum grows naturally when the brain associates effort with positive outcomes and energy is preserved rather than depleted. The psychological impact of celebrating small sessions is profound. Many people rely solely on future rewards, thinking that only the end goal matters. This creates frustration and fatigue because the brain cannot sustain motivation indefinitely without reinforcement. Immediate acknowledgement of progress, even in small increments, maintains engagement, sharpens focus, and energizes the mind. Each completed session, no matter its size, becomes a building block for longer periods of sustained work. Motivation becomes continuous, cumulative, and self-reinforcing rather than sporadic and forced. Celebration also strengthens self-confidence. When you recognize that you completed a session, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of focus and consistent effort. Confidence is not built overnight. It develops through repeated experiences of success. By acknowledging small achievements, you accumulate evidence that your attention, discipline, and effort produce results. This confidence makes longer sessions less intimidating, reduces mental resistance, and creates a positive relationship with work. The act of celebrating is a subtle but powerful form of self-reinforcement that shapes behavior and mindset. Another critical benefit is emotional resilience. Work sessions, no matter how focused, can be mentally taxing. When you take the time to celebrate completion, you give your mind permission to relax briefly and enjoy the progress. This emotional reset reduces stress, prevents burnout, and restores mental energy for the next session. Small celebrations act as mini rewards, maintaining motivation without creating dependency on external incentives. Your mind learns to recognize effort and results as intrinsically valuable, creating a sustainable rhythm of work and renewal. The practice of celebrating small sessions also improves attention span. The brain is more likely to sustain focus when it knows that effort is recognized and rewarded. By intentionally marking the completion of a session, you create a signal that attention is worthwhile and effective. This habit trains the mind to value sustained engagement, making it easier to extend focus in future sessions. Small celebrations are not indulgent. They are functional tools for strengthening concentration, energy, and overall performance. Incorporating reflection into celebration amplifies the effect. Take a brief moment to observe what you accomplished during the session. Note what worked well, how focus was maintained, and what could be improved. This reflection transforms celebration into an opportunity for learning and self-improvement. Each session becomes a source of insight, guiding adjustments for subsequent work periods. Observing progress and growth enhances the sense of achievement and motivates further engagement. The combination of recognition and reflection builds both confidence and skill. Celebrating small sessions also combats the trap of perfectionism. Many people hesitate to begin or continue tasks because they fear imperfect results. By recognizing the completion of a focused session, regardless of size or perceived quality, you shift attention away from perfection and toward consistent effort. Progress becomes the metric rather than flawlessness. This mindset reduces anxiety, encourages experimentation, and promotes steady development. Small celebrations validate the effort itself, reinforcing productive habits without overemphasizing the outcome. Momentum is another critical element, supported by celebrating small sessions. Completing even a brief period of focused work creates a psychological push that carries into the next session. The brain craves consistency, and each small win signals that focus is attainable and rewarded. Momentum reduces the friction of starting subsequent work periods, making it easier to extend attention without relying solely on willpower. Over time, these successive victories compound, producing longer and more productive periods of sustained engagement. Celebrating small sessions also encourages strategic energy management. Recognizing achievement allows for deliberate pauses, rest, and renewal. By linking celebration with brief recovery, you prevent mental fatigue while preserving motivation. This approach ensures that energy is maintained across the day rather than depleted in a single prolonged session. Active engagement, followed by acknowledgement and rest, creates a sustainable cycle that maximizes output, clarity, and satisfaction. Work becomes a deliberate balance of effort, reflection, and reward. Social reinforcement can amplify the benefits of small session celebrations. Sharing achievements, progress, or completed work with others provides external recognition that reinforces internal motivation. Positive feedback strengthens the association between effort and reward, creating a supportive environment for sustained focus. Even small acknowledgements, such as a brief conversation or digital check-in, can reinforce confidence, accountability, and motivation. External validation complements internal celebration, accelerating the development of productive habits and sustained engagement. The habit of celebrating small sessions develops awareness of personal capacity. Each session provides feedback on attention span, mental stamina, and efficiency. Observing patterns in completed work allows you to optimize session length, timing, and intensity. You learn how long you can maintain focus effectively, when to schedule breaks, and how to structure work for maximum impact. Awareness grows alongside achievement, creating a feedback loop where celebration informs strategy and strategy enhances focus. Productivity becomes both intentional and self-reinforcing. Celebration also improves resilience against setbacks. Work does not always proceed as planned. Interruptions, mistakes, or unexpected challenges can erode motivation. By focusing on completed sessions rather than solely on outstanding tasks, you maintain a sense of accomplishment despite setbacks. This perspective prevents discouragement, preserves energy, and keeps the mind engaged. Small victories create psychological stability, reinforcing the belief that effort produces results even when circumstances are imperfect. Resilience grows through consistent acknowledgement of progress. Another critical aspect is reinforcement of habit. Focused work is a skill that improves with practice, and celebrating completion of sessions strengthens this skill. Recognition creates a positive association with effort, making future sessions easier to start and sustain. The habit of intentional focus becomes ingrained, and the mind learns that engagement is rewarding rather than burdensome. This reinforcement is essential for long-term development of attention, discipline, and productivity. Celebrating small sessions also nurtures creativity and problem-solving. Completing a focused period of work allows the mind to process ideas, reflect on progress, and explore solutions with clarity. The act of acknowledgement signals that effort is meaningful, freeing mental space for innovation and insight. Continuous engagement, followed by recognition, creates an environment where creative thinking thrives. Productivity is enhanced, not only through efficiency, but through enhanced quality and depth of output. Finally, celebrating small completed sessions transforms the perception of work itself. Instead of viewing tasks as obligations, each session becomes an opportunity for accomplishment, growth, and reinforcement of capability. Motivation becomes intrinsic, sustained, and cumulative. Focused attention is no longer a struggle, but a habit supported by recognition and momentum. By honoring small achievements consistently, you prepare the mind for longer periods of engagement, higher quality output, and sustained productivity. Celebration is not merely a reward, it is the foundation of consistent focus, energy management, and personal mastery. Chapter 10. Commit to focused work daily and trust your natural rhythm. The foundation of excellence is consistency. You can have talent, knowledge, and opportunity, but without daily commitment, results are slow and unreliable. Focused work is not about occasional bursts of effort or waiting for motivation to strike. It is about a daily practice of intentional, deliberate attention aligned with your natural rhythms. Success is built not in sporadic moments of intensity,
but in consistent application over time. The daily choice to commit to focused work, no matter how small, compounds into mastery, achievement, and confidence. The key is trust. Trust in your own rhythm, in your own capacity, and in the power of repetition. Commitment begins with understanding your natural rhythm. Everyone has periods of high mental energy and clarity, as well as times when focus naturally fades. Recognizing these patterns is critical. Some people are sharper in the morning, some in the afternoon, and others in the evening. By observing these rhythms over days and weeks, you can schedule demanding, high-value tasks during peak periods and reserve lower energy times for lighter work or recovery. Trusting your rhythm reduces struggle, preserves energy, and maximizes the impact of each work session. It is a strategy rooted in self-awareness rather than force. Daily commitment is a practice of discipline that builds over time. It is not measured by extraordinary effort in a single day, but by regular, consistent application. Showing up every day, even for short, focused periods, sends a powerful message to the mind. Effort is a habit, not a condition dependent on mood or circumstance. Each session reinforces your identity as someone who works with purpose and consistency. Over months, these small, repeated actions compound into results far greater than any single prolonged effort could achieve. Daily commitment creates momentum that carries you forward. Trusting your natural rhythm also prevents burnout. Many people attempt to work continuously against their own energy cycles, relying solely on willpower. This approach is exhausting and unsustainable. By aligning work with natural peaks of focus, you preserve mental and physical energy while sustaining productivity. Daily commitment becomes less about struggle and more about intelligent engagement. Work no longer feels like a battle against fatigue, but as a series of manageable sessions that respect your personal limits and maximize efficiency. Rhythm is the engine that powers sustainable effort. Consistency develops confidence. Each day of focused work, no matter how brief, reinforces the belief that you can achieve what you set out to do. Confidence is not built overnight, it is cultivated through repeated action. Trusting your rhythm reduces self-doubt because you learn that effort aligns with results naturally. You no longer measure progress by bursts of forced willpower, but by steady, reliable performance. Confidence, like momentum, compounds over time. Daily commitment anchored in natural energy rhythms strengthens both competence and belief in your ability to sustain focus. The practice of daily focused work also enhances clarity of thought. When attention is directed intentionally and consistent, the mind learns to distinguish between what is important and what is not. Each session, even if brief, sharpens mental acuity and reinforces prioritization. By working daily and trusting your rhythm, you develop an internal system for managing attention, organizing tasks, and making decisions efficiently. Clarity emerges as a byproduct of consistent engagement rather than as a skill that must be forced or contrived. Daily commitment reinforces resilience. Life is unpredictable, and distractions, challenges, and setbacks are inevitable. By establishing the habit of focused work, you create a stable foundation that remains intact despite external pressure. Trusting your rhythm allows for flexibility. You can adjust session lengths, timing, and intensity without abandoning your practice. Resilience is not about rigid adherence to schedules. It is about reliable action within the framework of your natural capacity. Each completed session, no matter the duration, strengthens the ability to adapt, persevere, and maintain momentum. Celebration of completion is integral to sustaining daily focus. Each session, even if brief, should be recognized and acknowledged. This acknowledgement reinforces the positive association between effort and reward, keeping motivation high and attention sharp. When you commit daily, these small celebrations accumulate, creating psychological momentum that carries through longer, more challenging periods. Recognition of progress is not optional.
It is essential to maintain engagement and build the habit of consistent focus. Motivation grows through acknowledgement, reinforcing the cycle of daily effort. Daily focus also cultivates self-discipline without struggle. Discipline is often misunderstood as a form of coercion, a battle of willpower. True discipline emerges when action is aligned with rhythm and intention. By committing each day and trusting your natural cycles of energy, you practice discipline in a way that feels natural and sustainable. The mind learns that effort produces results reliably, which strengthens the habit of focused work. Over time, this approach reduces resistance, increases efficiency, and allows consistent achievement without the psychological drain of forcing attention. Tracking progress enhances the power of daily commitment. Simple observation of what was accomplished, how long focus was maintained, and how energy fluctuated creates feedback that informs future sessions. Awareness of patterns allows for strategic adjustments to session lengths, breaks, and task prioritization. Each day becomes a learning opportunity where action and reflection reinforce growth. By observing outcomes and refining methods, you optimize both efficiency and satisfaction. Daily commitment is strengthened when progress is measurable and observable. Energy management is central to sustaining daily focused work. High energy periods should be used for demanding, high-impact tasks, while low energy periods are suited for lighter work, planning, or recovery. This approach ensures that mental resources are preserved while maintaining consistency. Trusting your natural rhythm prevents exhaustion and allows focus to remain sharp over days, weeks, and months. Consistency combined with energy alignment creates a foundation for sustained high performance. Productivity is no longer random, it is intentional, rhythmic, and reliable. Emotional regulation is another benefit of trusting your rhythm. When you honor natural cycles and commit daily, frustration, anxiety, and fatigue are reduced. Mental energy is preserved for engagement rather than for battling exhaustion or distraction. Emotional balance supports clearer thinking, better decision-making, and sustained motivation. Work becomes a partnership with your own energy, not a constant struggle against it. Each day of focused attention strengthens emotional resilience, reinforcing the habit of consistent, sustainable effort. Daily focused work also nurtures mastery. Skills developed through repeated practice and consistent attention ensures that effort compounds. Trusting your natural rhythm allows for optimal engagement with tasks, enhancing learning, creativity, and problem-solving. The combination of repetition and alignment with energy accelerates growth in both professional and personal arenas. Each day becomes an opportunity to refine capabilities, expand knowledge, and strengthen mental acuity. Mastery is not achieved in bursts, but through deliberate, consistent action aligned with personal rhythms. Building a daily practice improves time awareness. By committing to focused work each day, you develop a keen sense of how long your attention can be sustained, when fatigue emerges, and when energy is optimal. This self-awareness allows for better planning, task allocation, and efficiency. Time becomes a tool rather than a constraint. Trusting your rhythm enables intelligent scheduling that respects natural attention spans while maximizing output. Awareness and commitment work together to create a rhythm of sustained, productive engagement. Consistency also enhances motivation intrinsically. Motivation is not a prerequisite for focused work, it is a byproduct of action. By committing each day and completing focused sessions, you create a sense of progress that fuels further effort. Momentum builds naturally, making it easier to maintain attention and tackle increasingly complex or challenging tasks. Motivation becomes self-sustaining, rooted in observable results and habitual engagement. Daily commitment ensures that effort continues regardless of fluctuations in mood or external circumstances. The habit of trusting your rhythm and committing daily develops self-trust. You learn to rely on your own judgment about energy, attention, and optimal work period. This internal guidance reduces reliance on external pressures or arbitrary schedules. Self-trust fosters confidence, resilience, and independence. Each day of focused work reinforces the belief that you can sustain attention, achieve goals, and navigate challenges effectively. Commitment anchored in natural rhythm becomes a foundation for self-reliance and personal growth. Reflection enhances the effectiveness of daily commitment. Taking brief moments to evaluate the quality of work, the alignment with energy, and lessons learned allows for continuous improvement. Reflection turns completion into insight and insight into strategy. Each session becomes both a productive period and a learning opportunity. The combination of action, awareness, and reflection strengthens focus, skill, and confidence. Daily commitment is more than repetition. It is an evolving practice of improvement, guided by attention to rhythm, energy, and outcomes. Finally, committing to focused work daily, while trusting your natural rhythm, transforms both productivity and quality of life. Work becomes intentional, efficient, and sustainable. Energy is preserved, focus is maintained, and results accumulate consistently. The mind experiences confidence, clarity, and momentum. Effort becomes aligned with natural capacity, producing results without unnecessary struggle. This approach builds mastery, resilience, and fulfillment, turning daily practice into a pathway for long-term achievement and personal growth. Commitment and rhythm are the pillars of consistent excellence.